Hello. Welcome back to another episode of Shit's Hard. I'm your host, Amber. And today we are talking about misogyny, a sense of self, and why I don't take male clients anymore. Let's get into it. For whatever reason, obviously, like with the election, all this stuff, sexism is, well, it's relevant. Relevant. As relevant as it always has been. As a girl who works in a male-dominated space, it's more relevant than I thought it would be at my job. So I'm just going to be talking about misogyny in my own life, how I navigate sexism in my own life, what I see in my future partner, and then we're going to get into why I don't take male clients anymore, because it's kind of wild. I've only been at this specific job for like 2 years. But the amount of incidents that have been filed is kind of wild. So let's get into the thick of it. I'm a girl in a male-dominated space, so I definitely face sexism at work. We have removed probably 3 that I can think members on my behalf, clients, whatever the case, on my behalf alone. That's not to say we haven't removed anyone else for any other women. 2 of these people had been like I don't want to say a repeat offender. I want to say nobody was making a big enough deal about it. And both these people were causing problems before I even showed up. So one of the men was a member at the gym and was kind of making everyone uncomfortable. Like I believe he was an outside trainer of some sort. And just like, I don't know, I guess had been like removed from his other gym for similar instances of making women feel uncomfortable, staring a lot. My instance with this person was I was closing up the gym late at night at 10 p.m. And after all the other members had left, he had stayed and was like, hey, like, do you need help cleaning up? Like, re-racking any weights? Like, I was like, oh, no, like, I'm good. Like, thank you, whatever. And was like, okay, well, like, we should get lunch sometime. Like, whatever. Mind you, this person easily has 20 years on me. Also is a trainer, so is jacked. So I'm like fucking terrified. Also, this person has like a screw loose. I had been warned about this person. Let's call him fucking, I don't know, Joe. We'll call him Joe. I had been warned about Joe, and other employees had been like, hey, just so you know, this person's a little wild. Let me know if anything happens. And I feel like if we're getting to the point where we have to warn female employees about it, we probably just should not have that person. But nonetheless, it's like, unfortunately, being creepy isn't like wrong. It's not like something you can get like kicked out of any establishment for. You kind of have to like do something. So whatever. This guy had like literally, we had like poor Yelp reviews on our behalf because of this guy's behavior in the gym, like an issue long before I was ever even hired. And after this had happened, I had told some other coworkers how uncomfortable I felt. And some of my close friends were like, you need to report this, like, because I was alone, closing the gym by myself. And some of my coworkers like, you need to report this. Like, this cannot happen again. Like, this is so unsafe. Like, what if worse things happen, whatever. And I'm grateful for that because, to be honest with you, I think as women, we are really taught to gaslight ourselves and tell ourselves that it wasn't that bad and that worse things have happened, worse things could have happened, but they didn't. And we're kind of taught to dismiss our feelings. But in reality, when I was there alone, and this gigantic man who I know has a screw loose in his head is asking me to go to lunch, I'm like in fight or flight. Like, I'm kind of terrified. And I'm like, I don't know where to go from here. A lot of times we want to ask women, like, why didn't you say anything? Why didn't you say no? Why didn't you whatever? And it's like, because in reality, I'm trying to get out alive. And like, that's not a dramatic statement. Again, I say I'm assessing the situation. I'm alone. Nobody's here. Of course, I do think that my management has usually done a really good job of standing up for me. And I know that they're there for me, but they were not physically there. In the moment of this happening, nobody's physically there with me. So in a very real way, I'm like, I'm trying to get out of here alive. This outside trainer, for whatever reason, is very strange. I've seen him like yell at his clients before, like in an aggressive way, like about like what time you're supposed to be at a session and stuff like that. So I've like literally I watched it happen, and like I watched him lose a client because the girl got upset with him and was like, "What the fuck's wrong with you? Like I'm not working with you." It was super weird, super uncomfortable. So obviously this guy just like is emotionally volatile. And that is another thing that I'm at this gym and I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ, like this is terrifying. So I got out of there quickly. I just said, yeah, let's get lunch. I was like, let's invite all the other trainers. And I walked away. I was like, all right, I got to close up, whatever. It took about 6 to 8 months for my company to remove this person, which kind of sucked. I understand that he didn't do anything like outwardly wrong, right? Like, of course, he's there after hours. He doesn't need me. He needs to go home. But like, I shouldn't have to feel that level of unsafe at work either. Like, I am there to do my job. I have to be there. So it was once I came out with that story and I told some other employees what had happened, pretty much all of the girls shared similar stories of feeling uncomfortable around him or witnessing one of their clients feeling uncomfortable around him. Apparently he had like followed some other girl out to her car and had like was asking for her number or whatever the case may be into the parking lot. And that was one of the other trainer's clients who was also irritated about him still being there because his client's upset. Super weird, messy situation. I'm not quite sure why it took so long to get him removed. It's fine. It's not a big deal. No, that's not true. That's actually so dismissive. I'm doing it. I'm doing it right now in the moment. I'm like dismissing my own shit. No, it's not fine. This guy's not fine. And another female trainer at the gym had mentioned that he used to work out at her old gym and he was removed from there for whatever the case may be, making underage girls feel uncomfortable. So it is a big deal. And it was super insane. And I was like, fuck, like me being a female trainer is such a different experience from being a male trainer. It's just night and day. There are times where I'm at the gym with a client on a machine, and obviously like, we go through a set and then we take a rest, a minute or whatever in between sets. And the amount of older gentlemen who will ask me how many sets I have left, which is totally okay. That's fine. And I'll be like, oh, we have 2 left, whatever. I've had one gentleman give me this little time clock with his hands. After I said 2 sets up, he's like, speed it up. It was a white-haired old guy. And I just looked at him and I said, 2 more sets. I'm like, I couldn't even believe what had happened to me. How embarrassing that is to happen in front of a client, to be so undermined. Like I'm looking over at, there's another trainer there. He's a bodybuilder. He's like 32. He's huge. Obviously respected. And I'm like, you motherfucker would never say that to him. You would never go up to him with a client nonetheless and tell him to speed it along as he's training somebody. It was so, this is 100% why I'm so grateful that I have all female clients. They are so understanding and equally as outraged, I would say, when they see things like that happen to me. They're like, that was fucking insane. I can't believe he talked to you like that, whatever. And I'm just so grateful that I feel so seen and heard by them. Really, I'm so like glad and grateful that I've switched my clientele to all girls. I learned so much from them. And I think it's nice to find comfort in other people who have similar experiences. Like, fuck, like you hear these statistics of women and, the wage gap. And not that I forgot about the wage gap, but it's like, fuck, I thought it was closing in. And it's like, you see something like this in real life and it's like, fuck, like those statistics start to come to life. You see it every day. Unfortunately, the reason that I had officially decided to stop training men was because of a recent incident. I've always wanted to work with women. I love women. I really feel lighter after a session with, I have a really good client relations. I feel super grateful because my clients feel very comfortable with me. They feel safe. They share things with me. And it's more than just fitness. We're talking, even during sessions, we're talking about mental health. We're talking about food and nutrition. Obviously, I'm not giving unsolicited advice by any means. And if therapy talks get a little bit too much, I always recommend a therapist, or even with food, I recommend a registered dietitian or a nutritionist because that's not my specialty. But it's a lifestyle. And I think that's what I love about working with women is it's like encapsulated in this, like, we're not just here to work out, to lose X amount of pounds and be done. Like, we really want to curate a lifestyle where we feel good. We want to do workouts where we feel good and workouts that help us get stronger and more functional for our everyday life so that, we're always feeling good. And I love that I have so many clients who have that same goal. A lot of my clients don't have specific weight goals or numerical goals. They have a lot of, I want to feel better goals. I have a 4-year-old son. He's getting heavy. I need to lift him goals. Things like, when I'm carrying in groceries, my back is starting to hurt. I think when your goals revolve around improving your quality of life, that's just the way to do it. That's the longevity aspect, is you're going to be fine. You're really going to be committed to your fitness goals and your fitness life. When you realize it is a journey, it's going to go up and down. It's fine to take a month off, because in the series of your life, it's a journey. It ebbs and it flows, and kind of, maybe you'll shuffle into different endeavors of fitness and you'll get more into lifting, and then maybe you'll get more into more cardio or maybe more classes or dance classes, or maybe you'll get into cycling, whatever the case may be. When you're committed to feeling good and improving your quality of life, you really can't lose. Like, you're just constantly achieving that goal as long as you're coming in and getting anything done. So that's what I love about women. Especially my clients, their goals are similar to my goals, and we meet each other there with that. And I can also help them during the holidays, when that's going to be, the low end, as we're going to have a little more Christmas cookies. We're probably going to miss a few workouts when you're traveling for the holidays. It's not a big deal. You're going to be back in January and we'll hit the ground running, but spend time with the family and have that balance. Don't feel guilty for it. The reason I stopped working with men, not that I don't experience those things with men, but I've had a few male clients. One of them was younger. He was like 14. He was cool. He was great. I think it works better when I was older. There was a better respect dynamic, to be completely honest with you guys. When there's an older gentleman and I'm training him, I'm here to teach him, they really just don't, I don't know. A lot of guys don't come at it knowing that they're the student and I'm the teacher. They don't like that. Ego takes a hit. They want to be taught by a man, whatever the case may be. It's not my client. I'll say that much. I did one welcome workout. I just have to share this side story. Sorry. I had one welcome workout with this guy who was questioning every little tiny thing I did, which asking questions is totally fine. Obviously, please ask questions. But it's an assessment. So I don't know him yet. So we were just doing maybe a squat, a lunge, a hinge, a push and a pull, whatever the case may be. Just one of the, each of the 5 movements, trying to see how he moves. And I would just grab a dumbbell to just add some weight. In the assessment, I don't usually push a lot of weight. I don't really know you yet. I don't know your injuries yet. I don't know how you like to be pushed or trained yet. So more so I'm trying to get a feel for how is form looking? If form's looking bad with 10 pounds, I'm not really going to throw on fucking 40. Let's just keep it back at 10 and let me talk you through what's going on here. So every time I'd hand him a weight, he'd be like, why'd you pick that weight? Why'd you pick 15? Well, I could definitely push more than that. And I was like, I'm not under the assumption that you can't push more. I was like, I'm really just trying to see how you move here. We don't really need to be pushing maxing out today. It's an assessment. I don't know you. So, and then typically when I'm in sessions, I'll count reps for them out loud, more so for my sake, to be honest with you. So I know where they're at. And also I'm counting reps because I'm evaluating how easy is the rep for you at 1 rep, 2 rep versus 10 and 12. And if 10 and 12 reps are looking the same as 1 and 2, all right, we got to go up in weight. So that's really what I'm doing. And I do it out loud, just, I want them to know that I'm there with them. I'm there, even though I'm not lifting with them, I'm with them through this journey. And I'm with them through every workout. And so anyways, I was counting out loud for him. He was he said something I'm not like all your other clients who need you to count for them and babysit them. I can count my reps for myself. I know how to count. I don't really need you to do that. And I was like, sir, I'm not under the assumption that you don't know how to count to 12. I was like, that's not what's happening here. I'm going to need you to leave your ego at the door. I'm just making sure we're on the same page. I'm counting out loud so also I can tell where you're at on I was like, you know what? Never mind. I'm at the end of it, I'm kind of wishing he doesn't buy PT, or I'm already thinking about the trainer for him if he does buy PT, because he's not training with me. This is like the ego, pride, male thing. I can't get through that with a session. There's a few things you have to, like, I don't want to say put up with as a trainer, but there's a few difficulties you'll go through which you didn't expect, which is kind of becoming a cheerleader. You really have to evaluate how badly do your clients want to be pushed? How hard do they want to be pushed? You have to make sure their mental is keeping up with their physical, because even if you know they can push more weight but they don't want to, like you've got to be on the same page there, because it has to feel like consensual. It has to feel like they're making the choice to push more weight. But that was something that I didn't know that I would have to deal with, but I can. I totally can. I have clients who love to be pushed, and if I tell them to push this much weight, they're like, I'm doing it. I have clients who they kind of prefer to like slow and steady, and I work with them slow and steady, and I'll slowly increment them. Or sometimes, to be honest with you, I'll just switch their weights out and hope they're not paying attention, because I know it's more the mental hurdle than the physical. But I can deal with that. But the like male ego, I can't. Like, I just have no patience for. I have no tolerance for. I just really am like, that's not my client. But so after that guy, whatever, I've gone a long time with very little male clients. I've probably had like a total of 5. There was one gentleman actually who was a music teacher, super cool, super chill, there to learn, very respectful. We're just both mutuals, very respectful. I really liked him. So that's my experience with male clients. This last one was probably the worst one, and it was not an ego or pride issue. I had done a welcome workout with him, and it went well. And there was a few red flags at the welcome workout where he had said, like, we were talking about like life and college and whatever. And I said, oh yeah, I graduated college 2 years ago and my fitness journey, whatever. And when I had said that, he was like, oh, 2 years ago, you're pretty young. And I was like, yeah, I'm 24. I was like, kind of strange. Obviously, my age isn't really relevant to me training you. But some of my girls are like surprised by how young I am sometimes. Or they'll be like, oh, you just seem really smart for your age, whatever. So I kind of just was like, all right, take it with a grain of salt, whatever. After the welcome workout, he purchased some PT, and then he had sent me money and texted me and was like, hey, like, I just wanted to like, send you something for the session today. Like, I know I didn't pay for it, but like, I got a lot of helpful information out of it. Like, whatever, like, can't wait to start training next week. And I thought that was a little strange, because none of my girls have ever done that before. Some of my girls will send me like, maybe like a little birthday something, like happy birthday, or like, get a coffee on me. But like, they know me and we have like a built relationship together by the time they do something like that. So I was like, we don't know each other. So I knew it. I thought it was a little strange. I told another female trainer. She said, I don't think it's weird. Like, just keep an eye on it, whatever. So, time passed and really nothing came of it. We had like probably 4 or 5 sessions once a week together. So like 4 or 5 weeks. And then I had said I was going to be in San Diego for the weekend. He's like, oh, me too. Like, I'm going to be there for a wedding. I was like, oh, cool. Whatever. Have a good weekend. Text me that night at like midnight. And me and my friends were driving to San Francisco. So I was in the car with them. And at midnight, text me. And first thing I get a notification from my bank. Zelle transaction, like money sent into my account. So I'm like, oh, this is weird. And then it says who sent it. I'm like, okay, strange. And then I go to my messages. He messages me. He's like, hey, I was just wondering like if I could like send you, I just sent you some money. Like, I was wondering if I could send you some more money and like ask you questions. Like, I could send you, I don't even know what it was, $250. Text me again, $500. He didn't send this money. He was like asking if it was appropriate to send more so that he could ask me questions. I don't even know what the questions were pertaining to. Super, super weird. I was showing my friends. They were like, what the fuck? This is weird. I obviously felt so uncomfortable. It's midnight on a Friday. I had just trained him that morning. He knows I'm in San Diego. Luckily, I'm with my friends, so I'm like not that worried about it. He doesn't really know where I'm staying there. But still, I was like, this is so uncomfortable. I really hate this. And I didn't respond, obviously. And then an hour and a half passed, and then like a few more like drunk messages, like alphabet, like just FK or whatever, like keyboard smash type shit. It's like, what the fuck is this? And it was like something about like wanting to cuddle, whatever. I don't know. At this point, I'm like, I'm not dealing with this. I'm done. Sorry, boss. This is just becoming your issue. So I just let it go. I hung out with my friends. I didn't think about it. He never said anything the whole weekend until Monday. I came into work. I talked to my boss. I said, hey, we need to talk. I kind of told him what happened. And, I had said I didn't respond and I don't plan to and whatever. And my boss, and God bless him, because I like my boss and I do think he's very well-intentioned. I think he wants to do the right thing. At the end of the day, he is a man. He doesn't get it on that level that other women do. So his first response was like, okay, well, just text him back, let him know, like, we'll set him up with another trainer. And I'm like, no. And truly, honestly, I didn't know how to navigate this situation. And again, us women, we always gaslight ourselves into making it a smaller deal than it is. And I'm not purposefully doing that, by the way. I'm really trying to logic through in my head, like, is this a big deal or not? Like, well, it's not a big deal. Like, nothing physically happened to me. Like, I'm like making all the excuses in the book. I feel so grateful for my 2 friends that were on that trip with me, because they were like, fuck no, Amber. This is super fucking weird. Stop dismissing it. Stop invalidating it. It's very strange. It's not safe. No, you're not training him again. He needs removed from the gym. That's it. And I was like, oh shit. All right, damn. So again, I feel very grateful my friends are being very strict about it. They were like, no tolerance, no bullshit, fuck that. So I feel grateful, because I wasn't even thinking like, oh, he needs removed from the gym. I just was like, I just don't want to deal with this anymore. Like, whatever my boss wants to do, like, it's up to him, like, whatever. And so eventually my boss and I talked again. Luckily, he was like, okay. Like, I stood up for myself a little bit, where I was like, like, I don't really think that's like appropriate. Like, to be honest with you, we have a ton of other female trainers. So what are you going to do? Not give this client to them? Because you can't. I'm not going to let you do that, to give this client to the female trainers. He's like, oh, no, I'd give him to a male. I'm like, I don't really think they'd want to train him either. And I think if we have a client who we can't give to certain trainers because he's creepy, kind of just seems like he doesn't belong here. And I feel super grateful. Again, one of the other male trainers I had talked to about it, I told him what happened. And I was like, so you can train him. And he immediately was like, no. He's like, I'm not fucking training him. He's like, fuck that. He's like, I don't give a shit. He's like, I don't care that I'm a boy. He's like, I'm not, like, no. He's like, why would I want to train somebody who's like creepy to you? And I was like, I don't know. I feel so grateful that so many people were validating me and my uncomfortability, because I wasn't even really in a position to do that for myself. And I'm grateful that my friends were like, no, this is weird and it's unacceptable. Because truly, if everyone else around me was like, oh, it's not that weird, like, whatever, like, just have, I probably would have just let it go and been like, okay, I guess, like, this is what everyone, and then I would have just felt so uncomfortable if I ever saw him there or saw someone else training him. Because that was my fear. He trained like 8 a.m., 5 days a week. And I work at that time. So even like Monday when I came in at 8, I was like so anxious that I would see him. Super weird, super uncomfortable. Grateful for how it was handled. Even after that conversation, my boss was like, never mind, whatever, he's out. Done. And I really do appreciate that. I know his immediate response, it might have just been like an immediate, like, what do we do? Like he's like, oh, I can't kick people out on a whim. But I'm glad he sat with it. I'm glad he came to the conclusion and was like, eye contact. Because he also, God bless my boss, but he was like, sometimes he does this thing where he's like, you need to stand up for yourself. Like, why don't you respond? I'm like, no. In my personal life, yes, I do need to stand up for myself. At my work life, I don't. I work for a company. And you are my boss. And so that's your job, is to stand up for me. And I'm coming to you saying, I'm not dealing with this. I'm not texting this person. I'm not even going to let him know that all of his, sessions are canceled. You're handling this. It's above me now. It's no longer a me issue that needs to be dealt with on the side. No. I love the notion that you want me to be a tough girl and stand up for myself. And in my own personal life, I can guarantee you I'm there. But when I'm here, I work for you. This is your responsibility. I think that's also a part of men, like, just not fully getting it. And again, how could they? Like, they don't experience it themselves. So how could they really truly, like, fully grasp the concept of like how fucking uncomfortable that would be for me to come into work and see this man? And like, he, what if he sees me walking out to my car? What if I see him in the parking lot? What if he knows what car? Like, men are kind of wild. Men are kind of fucking crazy. And I'd like to keep my privacy. Super glad he's not a member anymore. All that to say, that's officially why I decided to stop training men, because it wasn't working for me. like I said, the younger the kids was totally fine. I don't get a ton of kids, but I really get the most out of working with women. I think my passion comes out when I'm helping women, especially with common issues that us girls struggle with in terms of food, nutrition, body dysmorphia, having a good relationship with food, a good relationship with the gym, and trying to have that balance throughout your life. And especially just being a girl in a world that is really like, we have that toxic gym culture is still there. We have toxic food culture still here. So I'm actively trying to combat that at work. And I think my best way to do that and help the world is through women. And I can tell because I can tell how I feel in my sessions with girls. A lot of my clients, especially a handful who I've had for like a while now, I just feel like energetic after working with them. I mean, don't get me wrong. Sometimes I get tired. I'm on my feet. But like, mentally, it doesn't feel taxing. I feel like fulfilled. There's certain clients that I look forward to after the holiday. I'm like, tell me about how this, and this was. So it's very fulfilling work. And I'm grateful that I'm just like, you know what? Maybe we need to close that door and just focus on this one. So I don't know. Misogyny and sexism is a tough one. It comes up all the time. And I'm not talking about the blatant issues. I'm really talking about those underlying subconscious things that can easily be defended with something else. It's just, I don't know. What I'm working on this week is to really challenge myself and you guys as well, if you're interested in joining in, and try to like question things that are going on around you. We see these statistics of, oh, you know, the gender gap. I was going to say the age gap, the wage gap. Jesus fucking Christ, the wage gap. Or we see these statistics of like women doing more labor in the home, more emotional labor, more mental labor, even when they're both working. Just look for it in your own life. I really think that's the best way to like understand these concepts and see them. Is like, you know, I look at the women in my life and I see like, even in my family, my aunts and uncles, like who's caring for the family, who's caring for the kids, who's even at Christmas, you know, when I go to a holiday party, who's orchestrating Christmas, who's making the food, who's making, if there's family games, who's orchestrating and organizing those, who's making sure everyone's having a good time, who planned the event before everybody showed up, who makes sure like all the presents are under the tree. Like, I thought it was interesting. We do a Secret Santa on my dad's side of the family, and I got a present from one of my uncles. And it was my aunt who had texted me and asked for my address. And then she had let me know there was a package coming. And then she had, you know, set some little candles she made for me along with it. And then she had, I don't know if she wrote me the note or not. I don't remember. But either way, I was like, this is his present. Like, he had me for the Secret Santa. Not that it matters by any means. I'm very grateful for the present. And obviously I understand, like, we help our partners when we're busy and stuff like that. But it's around the holiday season, you can see that deeply rooted misogyny and just like sexism of like what's expected of women. They really don't get to enjoy the holidays. I mean, when I look at my aunts at a holiday party and I see them like running around, making sure everyone has food, you know, making sure everyone's, you know, passing out presents, like they're really keeping this thing afloat. And I'm like, if none of my aunts showed up next year, just happened to be busy or traveling, what the fuck would this be? Nothing. It'd be nothing. It'd just be a bunch of people sitting around probably eating an ordered pizza or something. Like the Christmas magic is just so put on by women. And I don't know, it's kind of heartbreaking because I really don't want that. I don't want to be a caretaker. I don't want to take care of other people, or I don't know. I don't want to bear an emotional burden or load that like men aren't equally as expected to bear. And it's so invisible. Nobody really, I mean, sure, people like appreciate women. They appreciate mothers, like, of course, but it's like, no one appreciates them enough to take anything off their plate or do it for them or like step up to the plate. Or it's like a treat if they get responsibilities taken off them. Whereas for men, it's just like their everyday life. So I don't know. I think men get a pass a lot of the times for a lot of little things, subconscious things. I was talking to a friend about work, and the old company that I used to work for was an architecture firm. This is the tale as old as time. The boss there had been there for I don't know how many fucking years, and he did things a little bit dated. And I was like, why don't we not do this like this? Why are we printing things out? We're printing out like 100 fucking pages. We're wasting paper. We're wasting time. We're shipping the papers to Florida and shipping them back with handwritten markings on them. Just an email would suffice. And I was met with, that's not how he likes it. And, you know, you can only ask him questions after lunch. And before lunch, he gets get a little cranky. And just the way that I saw everyone in this office working on eggshells, I was like, fuck this, dude. Like, this guy is so emotionally volatile that everyone is like creeping around this office trying not to set him off. And I was like, this is so ingenuine and like unnecessary. And people are doing so much unnecessary work and the company is spending unnecessary money and time because one person's ego. I was like, this is fucking crazy. But like, men get a pass so often for that kind of behavior. Whereas when women do it, they're over dramatic, they're crazy, and men do it, they're, leaders and whatever. So I think that's a frustrating thing that I've seen in my own personal life as well, is just like men get a pass for like, I don't know. There's that one Taylor Swift video where Taylor Swift is like, men get to have a reaction. Women can only overreact. And it's so true. And when you really think about that on a micro level, like watch it in your own life, it's so true. This happened to me the other day. Shit, we're going over on time. I have to wrap it up soon. This happened to me the other day. I was at the Christmas lights with a friend and my dog, Princess. We had a gentle leader on her. It was hooked wrong, whatever. So we were trying to get it fixed on her. Another dog walked by. We didn't see that. She got out, started running towards this other dog. She's like being fucking crazy. She's barreling toward this dog. And so we start running, like, Princess, whatever. We get her back. And it's this couple, this guy and girl, with another German Shepherd. So two big ass dogs, obviously, terrifying. Her leash is like in a driveway that we were standing in. Like, it's chaos. And obviously I'm anxious, they're anxious, whatever. We get Princess. It's not a big deal. There's no like outward big dog fight or anything like that. But still, nonetheless, it was a little wild. Obviously everyone's anxiety, everyone is up here. And this guy turns around and he's like, he's talking to his girlfriend. He's like, they should really have a leash on that dog. And he like turns around, he's like, you should really have a leash on her. And I looked at him and I said, we did. She got out. It's on the driveway over there. I'm like, actually, I think I was way more snappy than that, if I'm being real. I was like, we fucking did. It's in the fucking driveway right there. But I was like, I was angry about this situation. I was talking to my friend about it, and he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. We made the mistake. We let her out. Like, we weren't being cautious enough with, fixing her thing, which I agree. Sure. Like, I guess. But again, it was an accident. Like, that's my focus here is it was an accident. I wasn't intentionally walking around with my dog off leash. Her fucking thing was fucked up. Her leash was fucked up. And so we were trying to fix it. So it was an accident. And this man just took it upon himself to escalate the situation. And I think that's just such a good metaphor in society all around that I see is men typically escalate situations at work. Perfect example at that company I was working for. You suggest, oh, maybe we do this way, but maybe that's inefficient. Let's do it this way. He would escalate the situation. And women are typically taught to de-escalate situations. We're taught to calm everybody down and keep everybody's feelings, into consideration. But men just typically make things worse. And I was really bothered by this because I was already stressed. I was already anxious. And this guy was like throwing gasoline on an already lit fire. And it was like, why? And I was talking with my friend about it and he was kind of disagreeing with me. And he was like, I disagree with you, it was a knee-jerk reaction. I'm like, why do men get a pass for their knee-jerk reactions? We don't. Women don't. Women have a knee-jerk reaction. Again, we're dramatic. We are labeled as crazy. But men have a knee-jerk reaction and, all of a sudden we know empathy and we know grace. And it's like, all that man had to do was look around, like literally open your eyes and look around. But I am a dog owner. I've been a dog owner for 4 years now. I've had my fair share of off-leash dogs running at my dog. And I can tell you right now, if I simply look up and I see the owner barreling at me, this is a dog that got loose. This is an accident. This is an owner that's very stressed and they're in distress. They're worried about their dog and mine and whatever. Now, again, I've had also my fair share of off-leash dogs that were just off-leash and it was not an accident and they're just irresponsible owners. There's a clear difference. And this guy didn't pause and stop and take the time to look around and assess the situation. He just ran his mouth and escalated the situation for no reason. And I just think it was rude. I think, what are you really contributing to society when an accident happens or when something, of high anxiety happens and you decide to just make it worse because your feelings are high and you need to let them out because you're angry and you're stressed. So like the world is happening around you. You know what I mean? And that's something I see at the gym. That's something I see at the supermarket. I was at the grocery store the other day on New Year's Eve, fucking lines out the asshole. And as I'm in line, the cashier goes on the thing and she's like, can the owner of a white Toyota come up here and and like move your car. Like you parked it in front of like an exit, like people can't get out, whatever. There's a guy, I shit you not, like 3 people behind me in line. He's like, hey, he's like, it's my car. She's like, oh, okay, like whatever. He's like, yeah, he's like, you guys don't have any parking. Again, because it's New Year's Eve and it's busy as fuck. And I just walked out and I was like, what the fuck's wrong with you? Oh, it's New Year's Eve, there's no parking. Okay, so park down the street, park around the block. Take the problem and make it yours rather than fucking over everybody else and parking in front of the drive for people to get in and out. But I'm like, this is what I'm saying. Like, I just see so many times men circulating in public and just assuming everything revolves around them. They're just like totally like, there's no parking, so I guess I'll just make a spot here because I need a spot. And it's like, but there's other people existing in the space. So your actions have repercussions for others. I see it at the gym all the time. That guy who was like, speed up your sets. Other people exist here, sir. This is a shared space. The gym is a shared space. So many men I see don't understand the concept, or they do understand the concept when it comes to sharing it with men. They don't understand the concept when it comes to sharing it with women. And I have seen that time and time before. I have seen men bully women out of equipment at the gym before. Like that's a whole nother story. We got to sum it up. We're getting way too late on this episode, but shit we're working on this week is trying to just see things in our own life, trying to see the patriarchy, trying to see misogyny for what it is, trying to call it out when you see it, and really asking yourself those questions, like what's actually going on here, and not just dismissing it as, oh, people are inherently good and benefit of the doubt and whatever. Just, I would invite you to just think critically. Ask yourself a little bit deeper. And maybe there's not. Maybe there's truly none. But, when you see a company hiring a man over a woman who have equivalent experience, it's important to ask why. And there's so many statistics on this, but it really, like, you start to understand it when you see it in your own life. And I'm not going to lie, once you really see it, you really can't unsee it. It's a little disheartening. It's pretty depressing. It sucks, but also not letting that dismantle your sense of hope for change, and just trying to be the change in your community, trying to call it out when you see it in your community, trying to call out not the blatant sexism, because that's like, I mean, sure, yeah, like do that, but like what kind of blatant sexism are people like? Nobody's going out and being like, I fucking hate women. I mean, sure, calling that out when you see it, but also asking yourself on a micro level these subconscious biases of assuming women will do this and women will take care of this, and asking yourself, wait, is that right? If there was a man there, would we be asking him to do this? Hold on. I think that's the way we'll actually see change and make real change in our community on a micro scale, and then hopefully it infiltrates into a macro scale. So that's what we're working on this week. Shit I'm wondering this week is, how can I show up for other women? And I think, the ways that I have are reporting men, because I'm almost, I'm contributing to them knowing that behavior is not okay and hopefully not doing it again. So, or, the men that have been removed from the gym, at the very least, they can't behave that way in this space anymore to other women. So, what else can what other ways can I show up for other women? Or if you're a guy listening to this, what ways can I show up for women in these circumstances? So that's what I've got for you today. I'll see you on the next one, because this shit is hard.